Okay, students. So, in the earlier video, we have understood the sources of collecting data, that is the primary and the secondary sources. And now we will focus on that how the primary data is collected. Basically, we'll be studying about that only. First method of collecting the primary data is personal interviews. Now, personal interviews is further divided into various other sub methods. First is the direct personal investigation. Now, as the word suggests, direct personal investigation, under this method, the data are personally collected by the investigator from the respondents by conducting face to face surveys. Now, here the survey is conducted face to face. The investigator himself or herself goes to the respondents, visits them, and collects the data from them, whatever data is being required. So, this is basically that is why it is called as direct personal investigation, because the investigator is directly contacting the respondents and getting the information. So now this kind of collecting data, this particular method of collecting data is suitable when the field of investigation is limited, like when only few number of people is required to be covered, right? Only then the investigator can visit the various respondents and collect the data. It is not possible in case of when large number of people is required to be covered. So next, when there is greater degree of originality is required. Now, because we know that it is the primary source, right? The investigator will himself or herself go to the respondent and will collect the data. So it means that the data will be original in form, right? So it is suitable for such kind of places where there is the requirement of originality, right? So when there is a need for accuracy, when the data is required to be very much accurate, then it becomes very much important that the investigator must himself or herself collect the data from the respondents by personally meeting them, by personally contacting them. And one more point, suitability comes over here when secrecy is also required. Now, this particular type of method is used or it is suitable when there is requirement of secrecy. Why? Because when the investigator will himself approach the respondents, obviously the information or the data will be kept secret, right? So it will be suitable under the situations, number one, when the area of investigation is limited, when there is the need that the data should be original, it should be accurate, there should be secrecy in the data. All these things will be maintained only if we are using the direct personal investigation. So hence this method will be suitable only in such cases where these things are required. Now the merits of collecting the data personally is that there is the accuracy, right? The data is fairly accurate when it is personally collected. We know it very well. Now, when we talk about originality, the data have a high degree of originality because it is being collected from the source of origin only. Then we can talk about reliability. Now, because the information is collected by the investigator himself, the reliability of the data is also not under the doubt because he has done the work himself. So, he will not doubt on the data, right? Then we can say the data is also elastic. Now, this method is fairly elastic. You know why? Because the investigator can always make necessary adjustments in his set of own questions because he is collecting data according to his own will, according to his own pattern. So what will happen? He can just modify the data according to his own adjustments, right? According to his own requirements. But as we know that there are some demerits also of this method. Now what will be the demerits of this? First of all, that it is a costly method. Now why it is a costly method? Because it requires time, it requires money, right? So definitely the investigator will visit each and every respondent, which will obviously incur more amount of expenditure, right? So this is a expensive method. Now next is it can be personally biased. Now biased, it can be personally biased because the investigator can he can change the data according to his own will, right? So this is highly it is highly there is a greater possibility of biasness in this. Now as I told you earlier also, that there is the difficulty to cover the wide areas. Now, when there is a requirement of collecting the data from large number of people, the investigator cannot himself go to each and every respondent and collect the data. Hence, this type of method fails when it comes to a large number of people. And the next thing is that it has a limited coverage. Okay, it doesn't have a huge coverage, a wide coverage, because in this method the area of investigation is generally small only, so therefore less representative in nature, right? So it may lead to wrongful conclusions also, because we are not covering a large number of people over here. The example can be given that when the information is collected about the economic conditions of workers of an industry, for suppose some worker wants to collect the economic conditions about the other workers also, a particular worker wants to collect the information of other workers, so he will personally visit those workers, his colleagues, and can get the information about that. So this is an example that under such type of situation, this personal investigation can be used, and the word direct itself suggests that there is a direct contact between the investigator and the respondents. So this is the another thing. Now, second thing which comes under this your personal interviews, that is the indirect oral investigation. Now we are saying the word indirect. It means that there will not be any face to face contact between the investigator and the respondents, right? So what will happen, that under this method, the information is obtained not from the persons regarding whom the information is needed. It is collected orally from the persons who are expected to possess the necessary information. Now, for example, we can explain it in this, we can understand it in this way, that we have some, people in the rural areas who are illiterate, who don't know about anything, whatever is being asked to them. They don't have any kind of knowledge. So what will happen if you are going to conduct survey over there? So those people, they will not be able to answer your questions. So from where you will get the information? You will get the information from someone else in the family who is educated, right? Because the illiterate persons of the family, they do not know anything, they don't know how to answer the questions, so they'll not be able to give you the correct information. So you are taking the information of those people, but not from them, from some other persons who knows about them. This is what I'm trying to say, that we are not collecting the information from the particular person, we are collecting the information about him or her from some other person who knows about him, right? So this is called as indirect oral investigation. So these persons from whom we are collecting, they are called as witnesses, right? From whom we are collecting the information, they are called witnesses. Now, where this method is used, this method is used for it is suitable for which areas? Now this method is suitable when the investigation is done on a relatively larger number of people. A relatively larger number of people means that the number of peoples are a bit more than what is being covered under the direct personal investigation, which we studied just now. If we have a little bit more number of people, then we can use this method. Next is that the direct contact with the concerned respondents is not possible. When you are not able to directly contact the particular respondent, so what you will do, you will acquire the information from some other person who has the information about that respondent. So it is suitable there also, this method, right? Again, another, this method is suitable due to the illiteracy which I have told you, and the ignorance concerned respondents are not capable of giving information because they are ignorant, they are illiterate, they don't know how to respond, they don't understand your questions, they will not be able to answer. Hence, this method is suitable under such conditions only. Now, the merits of this method: indirect oral investigation, obviously it covers a bit wide coverage. Then it is less expensive because we are getting information about a number of people from some one particular person only. One particular person can give the information of other illiterate members of the family, right? So we will not be going to each and every person. It will reduce the cost, time also, right? So next is free from bias. There is no biasness method. It is relatively free from bias. We cannot say that completely free from bias, because a certain degree of biasness can here also be there. Okay, so it is a bit simple. It is easier to collect information from one person. And then we have the expert opinion also, because using this method an investigator can seek opinion of the experts also, and thereby he can make his information more reliable. So these are the merits. Then comes the demerits. Now demerits is that it is a bit less accurate, relatively less accurate. And why it is so? Because the information is obtained from the persons other than the concerned respondents. We are not collecting the information from the respondents himself or herself. We are collecting the information from some third person. So there is a lack of accuracy to some extent. Then biasness can also be there, as I have told you, that it can be a little bit biased also, because some other person is giving information, so he or she can be biased, he can give wrong information also, and therefore it can lead to doubtful conclusions also. So this method is it is basically used by the government and the various non-governmental organizations and committees for collecting the information. So this is that. Now, the third thing which comes under the personal interviews is that information from local sources. Now, information from local sources, or what we also called as the correspondents. Now, under this method, the investigator appoints local persons in the area, in the respective areas. The local people, they are appointed as investigators, and these are called correspondents also. These people are appointed in the local areas. They collect the information in their own way, whatever they wish, in their own methods accordingly, and they furnish this information to the investigator. So this is the way. Now when the area of investigation is much more larger, greater than this your indirect oral investigation, when the area of investigation is larger than this, then this method is used, because local correspondents are appointed at various places, and they collect the information and then they transfer that information to the investigator, right? So it is suitable in the areas where the area of investigation is, it is large. Then next, it is also suitable where high degree of accuracy is not required, because we are collecting information from various correspondents, from various people, or you can say from various investigators who are giving information of other persons, who are giving information of other areas, right? So this kind of information, this kind of method can be used at in the places where accuracy is not much more focused. And it is also suitable for the place, for those areas where there is a need of regular and continuous information, like you can see in the TV channels, radios, magazines. They have various news reporters spread over a larger number of areas, and they give information of the various cities or the various states of the country. So these are what, these are kind of respondents only, they are giving information of the local areas. So this particular method is used in such cases. Now it has its merits also. First, obviously it is economical in nature, because in terms of money or in terms of efforts involved, so it is a bit economical in nature. Then it has a very wide coverage as compared to the other two methods. There is the continuity of information, because the information is regularly and continuously supplied, so a regular information can be obtained. Then it is suitable for a special purpose, for example, the quotations from the different food grain markets, right? They will be helpful in construction of index numbers also. So the data which is collected, it is used for some special purposes also. And at last, we have demerits of this method. First of all, we can say that obviously it will be much more biased. It will be biased. Why? Because all the correspondent, the investigators, they are giving information according to their own way. So definitely it can be based on their own assumptions, on their according to their own views. So it can be biased. So it is not original in nature. It will lack originality, right? Because there is not a personal contact between the main investigator and the respondents. Then we have uniformity is not there. The data will not be uniform, because different correspondents are collecting data at different places, so it will not be uniform in nature. Then accuracy, obviously there it will not be it will not give accurate information, and whenever the information is not accurate, there is chances of doubtful conclusions. Always there is a chance of doubtful conclusions. And the next thing is there can be delay in collection. So definitely this particular point will be a demerit of the method. So this is what we'll be understanding.